Here with the head coach of Campbell football, Mike Minner. I'm Evan Budrovich. And this is This Week in Campbell Football, powered by our friends at Dunn Benson Ford. Coach, the premiere of Big South football, it's here, it's arrived, and this past weekend in Monmouth, you learned a lot about your football team, battled throughout the game. What were kind of your takeaways from the Big South opener?
Well, listen, it's a conference that's physical. These guys was big. They ran the football well, which we knew going into the football game. We also knew that they can throw it, and so we did some things to try to help us in the passing game. I think they ran for over 300 some yards and really took the game away from us in the run game. And the other thing is we couldn't run the football. They did a great job of taking our run away, and so you got to give their coaching staff and them guys a lot of credit. What I learned, though, from my football team is that they didn't quit. It was a couple times that they could have, one being the first drive of the second half. Our starting quarterback, who's the heart and soul of our football team, goes down, and he can't continue to play. And so now we got to put in another quarterback, and so at that point, things could have got ugly. And we kept fighting, we kept staying in there and kept competing. And so that's what I really loved about the whole trip is I got to find out the competitive nature of this football team when adversity hits, because we really haven't had any adversity in a while. And so we had to step up and deal with that. And I thought the sideline was really good. The leadership after the game was good, letting guys understand that this is the result. Now we got to go back to work to get better. This is how far we got to go to be competing for a conference championship. And so really the game is just about information. It's not about did you win or lose. It's about information and then how can you get better from that information that you got from the game. And so I was really proud of the leadership of my football team after that game.
Certainly a player who stands out, numbers-wise, certainly is Caleb Sneed. 10 catches, 188 yards, and for him, another day at the office, but certainly a big performance for you guys.
Oh, I mean, this guy's a big-time player. He comes to work every day. He puts it in. He brings his cornerstones, and he works very well with Daniel. I mean, these guys are on the same page, spend a lot of time in the off season together, and then Jason DeMille comes in, and so it lets you know how our coaching staff is doing as preparing everybody, because we don't know who's going to play. And Jason comes in, we don't miss a beat in the passing game, and Caleb Sneed just had a great day. Not only in catching, but in blocking. This guy's great outside blocking in his run game, and so he's able to sacrifice for the team. And it's not always catching the football. It's sometimes sacrificing and blocking for somebody else.
Certainly has to be neat when you see all the records that Aaron Blockman sets week in and week out. And Caleb Sneed himself, a couple of records. So those two guys really making an impact. Coach, as we look forward to homecoming weekend, of course, the pomp and circumstance, always exciting, but a big football game. Gardner-Webb comes to town, and this is a battle-tested team.
Oh, no doubt. I mean, these guys have played a horrendous schedule, right? So you talk about App State, A&T, top 25 team, East Tennessee State, top 25 team. Western Carolina, who's a top football team in FCS. These guys have been playing some big-time people. Kennesaw State, who's a top 25 team. So you can go on and on and on about who they've played, and so we cannot go into this game being fooled about the record, because these guys know how to play. They are very physical up front. They will run the football, which we got to be ready to stop the run, because that's one of our weaknesses right now as a defense is learning how to stop the run. And so that's going to be a big challenge for us in doing this. And the quarterback, he can throw it down the field too. And so they take their long shots. They love the in breaking routes. And so we got to be prepared for that in the secondary, and our safeties, who's going to be deep. Have to be deep down in the middle of the field, because this guy can put the ball down the field. And so when you look at their offense, that's what you got to deal with. You got to deal with a physical team that will pound the ball, but then take their shots down the field, and we got to be ready for that. And then when you look at their defense, I really think this defense is very similar to Monmouth's defense, and I think their secondary is probably the best secondary we've seen up to this point, and so the outside guys is going to have their work cut out for them because these two corners can play, and I thought this front seven does a great job of moving. They got length on the outside as far as the defensive end is concerned. Their linebackers are very active. Their linebackers can run. And so this football team is a whole lot better than what the record shows. And we got to be prepared because, again, they was picked fourth in the or third in the conference for a reason, is because, this is a good football team. So we got to be ready to go.
One of the top non-conference schedules in all of FCS football, with Gardner-Webb coming into town. And, Coach, we've been treated to some pretty entertaining homecoming games the last couple of years. I know for you guys trying to get a big win, what's it like to have the alumni and especially the fan base back here at home to see what you guys are putting together this season?
Well, they call it homecoming for a reason, right? It's like a family reunion. It's everybody in the family get to come back and for a setting to get, catch up, reminisce a little bit. Oh, man, I remember when the stadium wasn't here. I remember when the weight room wasn't here. I remember when we was over there in that other field, and we had to walk to practice like 5 miles to get there, and, and probably now it's probably 20 miles as time goes by, right? And so it's always good to see the old faces come back. The spirit of those guys who have laid the foundation for Campbell football. I think that's really big for our program to get those guys back, and we look forward to seeing them and thanking them for all the things they've done in the past, and going to thank them for all the things they're going to do for us in the future when they get them great jobs and they make all that money. They give back to the program, and that's really what family is all about, and that's what we look forward to.
Over a decade of alumni, hopefully coming back this weekend. It'll be Saturday at 4 o'clock. A lot of homecoming festivities, of course, but the big one, the football game. You can watch it on ESPN3. We'll also have live audio coverage at GoCamels.com, getting you all set for a big homecoming game, Campbell and Gardner-Webb. We hope you see you this Saturday as you're joining us for the latest edition of This Week in Campbell Football.